Hey, you're listening to Nocturne Gallery, and today we're diving into a pond full of secrets. You've seen Monet's Water Lilies, right? Pretty, peaceful, maybe even a bit repetitive.
Think again.
This isn't just flowers on water. It's obsession, ambition, and maybe a little madness. We've picked out, well, dozens of surprising things you probably didn't know about this iconic series.
From hidden meanings to giant murals.
Yeah, and what painting the same pond like 250 times actually does to a person.
Let's get into it.
So when we think of Monet, Claude Monet, we often get that picture, serene, sunny, Impressionism.
Right, the classic view.
But the story behind the Water Lilies, which basically took up the last 30 years of his life, it's way more dramatic.
Oh, definitely. It's really deeply human, full of struggle, this relentless drive.
And it started early, didn't it? That intensity.
It really did. I mean, he was born in Paris, sure, but he grew up by the sea in Le Havre.
Okay.
And that connection, that early feel for nature, for changing light and water, it just stayed with him. Hugely influential.
And he was a bit of a rebel from the get-go.
You could say that. We know him as a founder of Impressionism, obviously breaking rules there.
Right.
But even before that, like with his military service, he got called up for Algeria in, 1861?
Yeah.
His dad was wealthy, could have easily bought him out, but wouldn't.
I'm not.
Because Monet refused to give up painting. So off he went to Algeria. African light cavalry.
Wow. And did that posting affect his art?
He said so himself later, called Algeria magnificent, talked about the sun, the colors, said it really pushed his style forward.
That commitment to art no matter what. That kind of sets the stage, doesn't it?
Absolutely, especially when you look at his early life. I mean, the poverty was extreme.
It's hard to imagine now, isn't it?
Truly, like days without basics, no bread, no wine, not even enough wood for a fire sometimes.
Sick grief.
And creditors. They seized his art, his furniture. There are stories of him paying for bread with a painting.
Just handing over a canvas for food.
Yeah, and in really bad moments, despair, rage, he'd destroy his own work. Hundreds of canvases.
Destroy them? How?
Slashing them, apparently. Can you imagine? Potential masterpieces just gone.
That's intense, but then, later on, quite the turnaround.
Oh, complete turnaround. Huge wealth, the big house in Giverny, cars, loads of staff.
6 gardeners, I read somewhere. And a cook.
Yeah, quite the setup. His wife Alice even jokingly called him the Marquis.
From starving artist to the Marquis.
Quite the journey. And that wealth, that freedom,
Yeah.
it directly fed into the Water Lilies,
How so?
It meant he could finally control his environment completely. And Giverny became ground zero for that.
Right, the garden. He started working on it in 1893.
That's right. Took this marshy bit of land and then did something pretty controversial.
Which was?
He diverted a local river to make his water lily
You
pond.
diverted a river. You could do that.
Well, he did, and the locals were absolutely furious.
I bet. What were they worried about?
They thought his exotic flowers, the water lilies, would poison the water supply, harm their cattle.
Okay, that makes sense from their point of view.
Sure, but Monet's reaction, basically, to hell with these locals. That's reportedly what he said.
Wow. Determined.
Completely. He saw the pond as his own creation, his Eden, and wasn't letting anything stop him.
And he really did create it, didn't he? Piece by piece.
Meticulously.
Yeah.
Started small, ordered just a few lilies at first, 2 pink, 4 yellow, some other plants.
Just a few. Because the pond became huge eventually.
Oh yeah, it tripled in size. He bought more land, added those Japanese bridges, put wisteria over them, planted bamboo, Japanese apple trees, cherry trees, rhododendrons.
He was literally landscaping his subject matter.
Exactly. Curating every single detail, shaping what he was going to paint.
And this became, well, more than just a project.
Oh, it became everything. His obsession for decades, over 20 years.
Leading to how many paintings?
Around 250 individual paintings of the water lilies, of that same pond, constantly changing.
250.
Wow. And early on, he already had this huge ambition to create these massive decorative panels.
The grand decoration.
That's the one. He envisioned them in like a circular room completely surrounding you. Immersive.
Even then, he was thinking big scale.
Always. which links to how he actually painted them, his method.
Right, because he wasn't just setting up one easel.
No way. He was chasing the light, the atmosphere,
True.
which changes constantly, right?
Of course.
So he'd have multiple canvases going at the same time.
How many?
Sometimes 4 at once in a poppy field, apparently. Someone saw him darting between them, and he'd switch canvases incredibly fast.
Wow, fast.
He apparently told someone, sometimes every 7 minutes, to catch the exact light effect.
7 minutes? That's frantic.
Utterly focused. There are stories of him painting out in pouring rain, storms on the coast, just soaked but carrying on.
Anything for the painting.
Pretty much. Apparently, he'd even have the village barber come cut his hair by the pond while he worked.
Okay, that's dedication.
But he wouldn't let anyone touch his beard. That was off limits.
Okay. But it wasn't about perfect detail, was it? His painting style.
Not at all. That's what's so key. He told a student, basically, forget what the object is, a tree, a house, whatever.
So what should they see instead?
Just pure sensation. A blue square, a pink oval, a yellow dash. Focus on the color, the light.
It's like Impressionism, distilled down to its essence.
Exactly. He even said something really profound, almost strange, that he wished he'd been born blind.
Blind? Why?
And then suddenly gained sight. So he could paint without any preconceptions, without knowing what things were called, just react to the color and light.
Wow. That's a revolutionary way to think about seeing.
It really is. It confused people at the time, though. Someone saw his haystack series and felt like the objects were missing, like it was inaccurate.
But that was the whole point, wasn't it?
It was. The power of the palette itself became the subject. Pure impression.
But that pursuit, it came at a cost to him, personally. The self-criticism.
Oh, it was brutal. Violent, even. He'd literally attack his canvases.
We mentioned that earlier, slashing them.
Slashing them with a penknife, stomping on them with his wooden clogs. Sometimes even burning them.
Burning paintings.
He destroyed 30 canvases right before a show in 1907, just gone.
It sounds like painting was a real battle for him.
It absolutely was. When he got really frustrated, he'd just wander off or lock himself in his room for days, not eating.
Yeah. And life threw other struggles at him, too. Losing his wife, Alice?
Yeah, in 1911.
Yeah.
That absolutely devastated him. He felt crushed.
Didn't he say something like the artist in him died?
He did. He told his stepdaughter Blanche his painting was a pathetic joke and he'd never paint again.
How incredibly bleak.
Shows how tied up his life and art were. And then, not long after, World War I.
Right, the Great War. How did that affect him?
Deeply. He was terrified his paintings would be destroyed or looted, like others were in the Franco-Prussian War.
Oh, right. He remembered that.
Yeah, houses used as butcher shops, paintings on the floor. Awful stuff. So painting became his refuge during WWI.
Way to cope.
Definitely. Yeah. He said he used so much paint it helped him forget the horrors of the deadly, terrible war.
And during this tough time, he found an unlikely ally, didn't he?
He really did. Georges Clemenceau.
The tiger, the tough politician. Seems an odd match.
Very odd. Clemenceau was this fierce figure, fought duels, led France through the war.
So what was the connection?
Clemenceau deeply believed Monet's art was vital for France's spirit, especially during the war. He pushed Monet to keep going.
He actively encouraged him.
Passionately, and even used his influence to help Monet out.
How so?
Got him special permits for coal when fuel was scarce and people were freezing. Saved his car from being requisitioned by getting him petrol.
Wow. In exchange for art, sort of.
In exchange for Monet's contribution to victory, as Clemenceau saw it, keeping French culture alive.
That's quite a friendship.
And Clemenceau later said Monet taught him how to truly see the light, especially on water. Enriched his own life. He called Monet his dear old dunderhead.
Affectionate in his own way.
Exactly. Deep respect there.
And speaking of support, his stepdaughter, Blanche. She was crucial too, wasn't she?
Absolutely indispensable. Clemenceau called her Monet's blue angel.
Blue angel, huh?
Yeah, she was his rock, his companion, looked after everything. She even helped prep the huge canvases.
Implying the base coat, the gesso.
Right. Though Monet thought it was blasphemy for her to actually put a brush to the painting itself.
He kept that part strictly for himself.
Oh, yes. But Blanche gave up her own art career, which was apparently quite promising, just to support him.
That's incredible loyalty.
It really is.
So with all this support, he embarked on the Grand Decoration.
And needed space.
A lot of space. He built that massive studio in 1915.
The one he called an ugliness.
Yeah, or stupidity, compared it to an airplane hangar.
How big was it? Huge, like 23 meters long, nearly 12 wide, with a 15-meter high glass roof. absolutely enormous, right in his garden.
Kind of ironic for the guy who hated telegraph poles ruining the view.
Very ironic. But he needed it for those monumental canvases. He had easels on wheels just to move them around and reach every part.
And these are the paintings he promised to France.
That's right. About a dozen huge, immersive panels. It was the state recognition he'd always wanted, in a way.
But he had conditions, right?
Very specific ones. He insisted on a particular kind of space for them, an oval room, like a grotto, total immersion in water and light.
And the timing.
Crucially, they could only leave Giverny after his death.
I wait.
He admitted he didn't want to suffer their imperfection in public. He knew they weren't perfect, perhaps couldn't be.
That sensitivity to imperfection, it's really poignant given what was happening with his eyesight.
Exactly. The cataracts were getting really bad after 1912.
How did it affect his vision?
It distorted everything. Colors seemed way too intense, almost garish. He said nature and his own paintings looked disgusting to him.
That must have been torture for an artist like him.
Unimaginable. And he destroyed more canvases out of sheer frustration.
Did he consider surgery?
He was terrified of it. Really feared losing what little sight he had left, or having it change so drastically he couldn't paint the way he knew.
He knew about other artists. Mary Cassatt.
Yeah, he knew her story, multiple failed surgeries, nearly blind. That must have weighed on him. He tried countless pairs of glasses, but nothing really worked.
So he's struggling with this massive project, this promise, and his vision is failing.
A terrible convergence.
And then, after he finally passes away, the paintings go to the Orangery Museum.
Right, in 1927.
But the grand unveiling. It wasn't so grand, was it?
No, it was incredibly low-key. Shockingly so. It opened with almost no fanfare.
And wasn't there something else happening in the building?
You're not going to believe this. A dog show.
A dog show. At the same time as the Water Lilies opening.
Yes. And apparently, the sign for the dog show was bigger than the sign for Monet's masterpiece.
That's almost insulting.
It feels like a cruel joke, doesn't it? And it didn't get much better immediately.
What happened?
For years, the rooms weren't ideal. At one point, the paintings were covered up with Flemish tapestries for some other event.
Covered up his life's work.
Yep. Some got water damage from leaks. One hall was used for storage. The lighting was all wrong.
Just disregarded.
So much so that his godson sadly said Monet was buried twice. Once physically, and again with this neglect.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the story doesn't end there.
No, the legacy endured and deepened, actually.
How so?
Well, if you look closely at the panels in the Orangery, there's one called Reflections of Trees.
So?
Different. Darker, kind of ghostly, melancholic. It's rarely the one you see on postcards.
How does it show?
It really reveals that troubled side of him. The water lilies have this eerie blue shimmer, like goblin lanterns, someone described them, shadows creeping in.
So not just serene beauty.
Not at all. And that panel is literally scarred. You can see a long cut where he attacked it with his knife. It holds that struggle.
The hidden meanings are right there on the canvas.
Exactly. And then there's the influence, which was also unexpected.
On who?
Decades later, on the abstract expressionists.
Really? Like Pollock?
Yeah. Critics at the time didn't always get Monet's late work, called it a wild cult of color, but artists later saw something revolutionary.
What did they see?
Those all-over compositions, the focus on the paint surface itself, the huge scale, it paved the way for abstract art.
Wow. He was ahead of his time even at the end.
Way ahead.
And eventually, the Orangery itself got the transformation it deserved.
Yes, finally. That huge renovation in the early 2000s, 6 years it took.
Cost a fortune too, I imagine.
Millions. And it was incredibly delicate because the paintings were too fragile to move.
So they renovated around them.
Essentially, yes. Hermetically sealed them, monitored vibrations from the work, alarms going off if things got too shaky.
Stressful.
Must have been. But the result
was worth it.
Absolutely. When it reopened in 2006, finally, the paintings could be seen in natural light, just as he'd envisioned.
That immersive experience.
Exactly. The rest of the collection moved out, giving the water lilies the dedicated, reverent space they always should have had.
A proper tribute.
A triumph, really. Over all the struggle, the neglect, his vision won out, turning that pond into something timeless.
And to be honest, these paintings are deeply personal to me.
No matter how many times I see them, I always find myself coming back.
There's something so quiet, so endless about them, like they're always waiting for you to return.